Hello, NDL. We are back. It's RB here with NTX Blue, and big day in the NDL today. We have a draft order. Shout out, homie. We were all trying to bully him into getting it out last night at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time, but that didn't work. So we went to bed and we woke up. We saw some teams available, and then a few hours later, we have a draft. So I'll turn it over to you, NTX. What do you think about the draft?
Well, I just want to start by saying I have never attempted to bully another man to get it out at midnight. I want to get that clear.
You might get arrested for something like that.
John, I'm fired up, man. I'm excited. A lot of surprises. I was surprised. I thought I was going to be much lower, so I'm really happy to be where I'm at. Um, Not a lot of surprise for you, huh? You're happy, comfortable in South Bend.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I will admit there was like maybe a once or twice thought that went through my head of like, man, like I just don't know if I'm going to have what it takes again this season because it is a grind playing at a top team, especially if you're not like a top player like me. I would say maybe I'm like second tier, right? I'm not quite in that top tier of like maybe 10 or 12 guys that are really next level at this game in this league, but I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I had a great season, pretty much achieved what I think is my ceiling in the NDL, and we'll give it another shot. We'll kind of see where it goes. It's going to be fun to play with the favorite team. And yeah, no, not leaving. Hopefully, can probably get two more seasons, but I don't think I'm going to stay forever. So yeah, I'm excited to be back for sure.
That's fun, man. It's going to be really interesting. I think a lot of the really good guys are still going to be really good, but some of these uh, game changes have really sort of leveled the playing field a little bit in some ways. I'm too old to do 12 adjustments before somebody snaps the ball, but I can hit a macro and I can set it up,
Yeah,
right?
dumb question, but are macros just like when you go to the create and share tab in the game and you go down to custom adjustments? Is that macros? Is that what? It's like,
It is, yeah.
okay, okay. It doesn't say macros anywhere, so I was kind of like, where are the macros? But then I saw a couple videos and I saw someone send a screenshot, and I was like, oh, that must be what they're talking about. I use some of the preset custom adjustments in game, like the short run and the outside run, short pass, inside run, outside run, those kind of ones. But haven't even played with setting some up on my own, which I think I'm going to try to do coming up here, in the next few days. But um, yeah, funny enough, someone just jumped in the channel and then left. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was actually the first reaction I wanted to talk about because you mentioned surprises. So let's get the elephant out of the room. I think the biggest surprise of the draft order coming out here was that Mr. Jumper decided to enter the draft. I think he had mentioned maybe a month or two ago that he was staying. Obviously, not going to hold anyone to that. That happens, but he sent out a ambiguous message last night with some eyes. That he had not made his decision yet. So I'll ask you, NTX, are you surprised to see Jumper not necessarily at number two, but surprised to see him in the draft?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I mean, I was surprised when he drafted Ole Miss because obviously we know he's an Oklahoma State fan. So I thought last draft that he was going to set himself up for Oklahoma State this year, and then he took Ole Miss, did really well. Um, and then we thought, okay, well, he's obviously taking him because he's got Chambliss for 2 years, right? He's going to be much better, and then he's in the draft. So I guess there's the chance that he could just redraft Ole Miss if he doesn't like what's there. But yeah, just surprised, very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if he's redrafting Ole Miss, that means that whoever Chip takes, number one was the team that he wanted, right?
Sure.
But I mean, I guess not necessarily, but that would be my logic. Yeah, I'm thinking like he's probably got to go Oklahoma State, or I don't know, maybe he'll take an Indiana or another team that he can maybe air it out more with. And I'm kind of like, wait, Ole Miss, you can kind of air it out with too. But I was surprised as well. I will say there are a couple holes on that Ole Miss team. The offensive line isn't very good, at least in the ratings department. And then I would also say
Mhm.
the defense outside of the defensive line and the linebackers, like the secondary isn't the greatest either. But yeah, I thought with like how he passes the ball with Chambliss, having some of those receivers and Lacey at running back, who is probably going to be Jeremiah Love like in this game this year with his ratings and his abilities. I was a little bit surprised, but he must have something cooking here because you don't leave a team like that unless you really have a plan. So yeah, kind of interested to see what he does.
Well, I mean, you think, there's something that I've been sort of trying to pay attention to, and especially, we just talked a minute ago about building my own draft board. So there's a ratings thought process, right, and how a team fits you. But then there's also the league sort of game theory, elements of everything.
Hmm.
8.5 at Indiana as a win goal is more, but 8.5 at Indiana when your hardest games are uh, USC, Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, versus a 7-win goal when you're playing LSU, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Um,
a great point. I shot it out the other day. I thought it was a mistake. Ole Miss has an eight conference game win goal, like win 8 games in conference is their conference goal. And I was like, wait, aren't there only 8 SEC games? I'm wrong. There's 9 this year. Andy was the one who pointed that out. I didn't know they had made that switch yet. I thought that was a future SEC thing, but yeah, going 8-1 in that conference in and of itself is like nuts to do. And then to do it when you have OU, Texas, Georgia, LSU all on your schedule, like good luck, right? Much different than in Indiana.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of, and Josh Hoover's a really good quarterback. The team, I mean, that team seems like they're better. I say this a lot. I know you've heard me say it in chat, but like last version of the game, Indiana was a bunch of 3-star hardworking kids, and it didn't translate to the video game. But
Yep.
if you look at their roster now, there's a lot more speed. There's a lot more overall ability. It looks like they're set up for a much different version of Indiana than we got last game. No, I just say, and I only talk about them because I don't know realistically what else you're looking at. Because at the time, he doesn't know Georgia's open, right? I mean, maybe he does, but
Right.
I mean, it's Indiana, Georgia, or back to Ole Miss, or Oklahoma State because it's the heartstrings. I just don't know what else is there that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. What else draft order wise maybe caught you off guard or surprised you a little bit?
There's a few guys that stayed actually. Like I didn't expect Pirate to stay. The
I didn't
Clemson took
either.
a
Yeah.
pretty big fall, roster wise. So, but maybe that helps him. I mean, it's a significantly lower uh, goals and everything than he had last season, right? So, but I didn't expect that one. What about
Yeah.
you?
No, I agree. Yeah, I did not expect that one either. I'm just kind of scrolling through the list here. It's really interesting. Like picks number, call it like 9 to 20, um, are like a very interesting mix of coaches where it's like you got some new guys who've kind of proven themselves a little bit, and then you have some vets who kind of went smaller conference. I'm going to call it the G6 now. I heard someone say that the other day. Can't call it the G5. There are 6 conferences now in that
Right.
the group of 6, but like Hubbard at 15 is interesting. Wilds, Joker back at 17. Like some of these guys, Texacote, Twisted Nuts, AU Tiger. Like I hope he kind of gets his team at Auburn. So I don't know. Like the draft is like maybe pretty top heavy, 1 through 7, 8 with Tutty, and then after that, it kind of is an interesting mix of coaches. So I thought that was interesting to call out. Glizzy is a lot lower than I thought. That was another one too. I saw he entered the draft. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go back to JMU, but I had him projected, in like the 13 to 16 range, and he did tell me he missed some stats or missed maybe a coaching report or two. But based on the info I had from the people who were feeding me draft scores, I thought he was going to be a little bit higher.
This, but if when you're what you're talking about there, that 9 through 20 or whatever it may be, is one of my favorite things about the league, right?
Hmm.
And these guys, some of these guys in here are a perfect example of why it's so important to find a team that fits how you play, right? Razorback found a team that fit him perfectly, and he went from wherever he picked Air Force 52 or whatever to or 35 or 8, I don't know, to number 9, right? But then you go down the list, someone like Pat, we know Pat's a great player. Indiana wasn't a great fit, and now he's picking, I don't know, 60 something. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that another point to make too is that normally the fired coaches list starts at 60. I think, and I might not be accurate on this, but I think it starts at 50 with Devin this year. I see Devin at 50. I would assume he made the playoffs and had like a mid 90 score, like just shy of getting Miami back. So I'd
Yep.
have to assume he's probably the highest rated fired coach, and that's where quote unquote day two starts. But yeah, I mean, look at that 50 Devin, 51 Pat, 52 Rain, right?
Hmm.
And then D Ward and Steam, and then Mort. Like that is a really quality group of coaches that, I think Pat said it the other day, is that one of these guys is going to pick a team that ruins someone's season because they're going to end up getting maybe a small power 4 school or a lesser power 4 school and end up on someone's schedule, and that
Yep.
person is not going to love that, right? So
100%. 100%. And it just like I said, I mean, just that list, you read them off, and it's like, what can go wrong when you get that high draft pick and you maybe don't pick the best fit for you. Also, can we talk about? There's a really interesting one in there, which is dealer leaving Pitt.
hmm?
You know,
Was
I
that surprising?
assume it was because what's better than Pitt at 49? I mean, maybe or 48. Maybe he just overestimated where he would be, possibly.
Yeah, but potentially, I also look at like T Fan as well at 45, just a few picks above him. He had Hawaii, and if he didn't get fired, Hawaii's like pretty nice in this game. Better than they were last year, and I think they're one of those teams to keep an eye on in the G6 to maybe make a playoff run. I know that's like crazy to think Hawaii getting into the playoffs, but with how the conference is split up now, and it's not a full Mountain West and it's a Pac-12 Mountain West split. Who knows? That could be a team that sees some very nice ratings, even boosted, kind of like a North Texas last year. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I mean, along that same line is you hear a lot of guys talking who are primarily guys that like to stay in the G6.
Mhm.
That Pac-12 and Mountain West is gonna fill up really quickly.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad the Mountain West is like, it's what, 10 and 10 now. Like each conference has 10 teams. It's kind of sad because like the Mountain West in this league got that reputation of being the retirement community, right? Like old vets. And it's like, now, if your Mountain West team left to the Pac-10, or sorry, Pac-12, like, do you go stay in the Mountain West if you're drafting? Do you go to the Pac-12? It's like it's kind of like a divorce, right? Like, what parents' house do I want to go to this weekend? It's just the interesting wrinkle in this league and what kind of makes it funny and just one of those funny things sometimes. So yeah, that'll be interesting to monitor. But I'm glad now that like you get Oregon State, Washington State back in a conference, and they're not in this weird like no man's land anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Having to schedule 10 games a season.
Yep, exactly. Let's stay on the draft. I actually want to talk a little more about teams. So, last year I just mentioned one of them. Every version so far, the last two that have come back, we have had that like darling team that launch date they're not where they are, and then or they are where they are, and then come season two or even season three, now their ratings boosted because they're having a dream season. So I think of like Virginia last year, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, were they like in the high 80s? No, but I think launch they were around like 77, 78, and by the time season three rolled around they were probably like 80, 83, 84. Right? I guess you might know, you had Virginia for a season, but
I did.
any teams in here that you're looking at that maybe in that like 80, or 78 to 81 range that you could see getting a pretty good bump throughout the season because they kind of catch fire or some magic this year.
Yeah, I think you have what's going to be really interesting is who starts to pull away in the Big 12 and in the ACC, right? Those are going to be because there's a lot of you go through there. There's a lot of sort of 81 to 79 there.
Hmm.
Arizona State, Cal, Colorado, Kansas State. Then a lot of those are Big 12, but UCF, a lot of that Big 12. Then you get some of the um, that ACC one that was in there was California.
Hmm.
Syracuse is there at like a 78. Rutgers, so they're Big 10. But Wake's there at a 78, so Boston College 77. Like, there's a lot of teams sort of right there that um, are going to be really interesting. I know Baylor has seemed pretty popular in the discussions people are having,
Mhm.
just because Lagway, right? Do they get off to a fast start? Does Utah turn? That's really, I can't really say like specifically this team, but to me, that's where it's most likely to come from. I would think is that Big 12, maybe those few ACC teams.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through right now. There's one team I was actually listening to Josh Pate's last show before he went on his 2 or 3 week hiatus he does here in July. But I was driving in this morning and I listened to his last show at the end of June, and there was two teams that he mentioned that got me thinking and just kind of looking at like who could these teams be. There's a sleeper team in the Big 12 who has like a decently high win goal, I think, for them, but they have a pretty nice roster with a lot of speed and they have a stud tight end, and that's UCF in the Big 12. Like, I see them at 81. That is a high win goal, so that could scare some people off, but like I could see them being, I mean, it's a bold prediction, but like in real life, like if they go 8-4, 9-3, and like really kind of take off in the Big 12, like you could see them getting bumped up to like an 84, 85, right? Or seeing that offense get a good boost later in the season. And then
Hmm.
Rutgers is another one. I think it's no surprise that they're not highly rated, but a lot of people like their roster because there are some skill players that are fast and have some abilities there. But I was looking at the G6, and Hawaii's an obvious one for me. But I also looked at Miami of Ohio. I think in the MAC in real life, they're one of those teams that is usually in that MAC championship game or kind of flirting around with it. They're already pretty highly rated, but I could see them being like 81, 82, like we even saw last year with like Kennesaw State. By the end of the version, I think Kennesaw State was like an 81 or an 82. So those are just kind of some teams that in the G5 you could see, having a great season, going like 9-3, and really by the end of this thing having a pretty good rating. So
The MAC's always fun, man, and now it's going to be even more fun. It's going to be wide open, right? You just
yep.
don't. Anybody could land there, right? And now Chip's gone,
Yeah.
probably, unless he, shocks the world and retakes his chips.
Could
But
you imagine number one pick just to troll everyone and be like, I just wanted to take them number one. Like
that
Tim
would
did
be
that.
so
Tim did
amazing.
that in like season 30 or season 31. Like he got his team not with the number one pick. He got his team, and then he went to draft, but he got the number one pick, and so he picked Washington State again. And it was like, why did you do that? And it was like just to say that I could draft. I drafted Washington State number one, and I'm like, that's
There's
okay.
some
That's
controversy there, though, right? I heard
it.
he took him number two because he was too slow.
Was it two? I could have swore he was number one.
Well, I heard he got skipped because he was too slow to pick
Maybe,
and
but
had
I
to pick
think
him number two.
but I think number two was Vegas, and he was taking Tennessee. So okay, I mean, like
I'm just
yeah,
giving
yeah,
Tim
no,
shit.
in theory, right, or in the
Yeah.
actual pick, yeah, I guess he was second, but that's I actually didn't know that, so that's a funny story. Um, Looking here a little more toward the bottom, for those who are looking at the draft and only see 89 players, and like I think we have like 30 keepers or 20 something keepers. If you're doing the math at home, you're like, where are the rest of the coaches? Those are getting added in here pretty shortly. There's a list of a lot of new guys, so Grimm is not the last one. You're going to see, a handful of coaches. And honestly, don't be surprised if, some of these names on here disappear off of here, just because that happens sometimes. Sometimes guys are out for the summer and not checking into the NDL, and they leave and then they don't come back. It happens, just a communication thing. I hope that's not the case. I hope everyone on this list is drafting and staying, but pretty much happens every season. We lose touch with someone, and then all of a sudden, come draft day, they're like, "Oh yeah, I quit," or "I'm not playing anymore." So, just something to keep in mind there. But
I have a
um,
question for you.
yeah, go ahead.
So we didn't talk about this. This is on the fly. But looking at every season, this happens. But I think this draft, it's a little bit less obvious than it was in previous years. I mean, previous seasons, especially last version, you had an 84 rated Iowa who was
Mm.
just an albatross that nobody really wanted, and they would usually drop way out of slot because I and most of us, I assume, when you go into the draft, you sort of pull up all the teams and go, okay, I'm picking 40. I'm gonna be in 79 to 81 rated team range. We'll see who of that's left and who falls maybe out of the higher ratings, right? And you could always kind of count on Iowa to slip. Um, Virginia slipped out of slot range for me that time I took them. What do you see there? In that above 81 range that could fall.
Well, I'm gonna answer, or I'm gonna go a different route, and then I'll answer your question. The first, I mentioned this in the live chat yesterday. I mean, you talked about it last show as well. Like, I think you're going to see Texas Tech fall quite a bit at the top. So that's one team that I probably wouldn't touch. Um, Oklahoma, as fun as that team is, you look at that schedule, and it's a 6.5 win goal with like Texas, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss. It's a gauntlet. It always is a gauntlet schedule in the SEC, but that was another team that I see falling. Scrolling through and just kind of looking at some of these other teams, I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like Utah fall really far as well. Um, that roster got kind of gutted a little bit. Obviously, it's confirmed MC's not keeping them. They're available. 6.5 win goal, manageable schedule in that conference, and a lot of teams will be similarly rated. But I could definitely see them falling pretty far. Uh, you mentioned Iowa. That's kind of just the one that stands out to me. Maybe Pitt's another one too. Maybe Dealer didn't keep them because he just didn't like the roster, and the quarterback play might not be the greatest. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that as my answer. What about you?
Those
Who,
are
like
interesting.
you, yeah, you asked me the question, so I'm gonna turn it back to you. What are the teams that you're kind of thinking that might happen to?
Sure. Yeah. I think you worry about a team like Missouri.
Yep.
I know
I don't even know who their
somebody.
quarterback is. I have no idea who Missouri's quarterback is
It's
in
the
real life.
kid that left Ole Miss that lost the job to Chambliss.
Oh, okay. Simmons.
Yes,
That
Austin
that's
Simmons.
he's decent. So
Yeah, yeah, he's solid. He's a lefty, which it takes a little getting used to.
yep.
Um, I think specifically on the teams that are like just above. I mean, South Carolina's above 81. They're in 82. Their rivals are Texas A&M and Clemson. I mean, goodness gracious! In that league with that schedule, a 2.5 win goal sounds okay. But Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia, Clemson.
Yeah. I shit
Yikes.
on the SEC in real life because I think some of their scheduling is kind of crappy. I feel like some of the higher teams get favorable schedules, and then they just absolutely uh, crush the other ones. Like Mississippi State, gets like a really raw end of the deal. They did a good job in real life scheduling this year, the conference games, because I feel like you're truly getting like legitimate matchups where at the end of the year that's going to help them even more. I mean, not that they need it; they already get pretty favorable shake when it comes to the playoff. But I think that strength of schedule is going to be like even more on steroids than it is. So I will give them credit for doing that. Now I'm sure the ads and the coaches don't love it as much, but it'll be hard to keep SEC teams out in real life because of how they scheduled the conference this year. So
Sure. Yeah, Florida State's another one. Um, the quarterback room looks like they have zero arms whatsoever. The schedule's absolutely brutal, unless you plan on being an option guy, which is weird because if you go look at their roster, there's not actually a ton of quarterback speed. They changed offensive coordinators, so I don't know, man. An 82 rated with a 5 win goal and a pretty rough schedule for the ACC. I mean, SMU, Virginia, Louisville, Miami, Clemson, North Carolina State, Florida. That's not an easy run.
no, and actually, you mentioned Florida. I was surprised to see them get kept. Maverick, I think his name is right. He kept
Mhm.
them. I just played UF literally an hour ago, and like started off pretty good, or he started off pretty good, and then like the interception train just hits you with that quarterback. I think he threw four picks, and it's like he was at home, it's like there's
Mhm.
wobblers and like there's hit while you throws and a little bit of bad luck, but like man, he even messaged me after. He's like, man, this quarterback play is brutal. I'm like, yeah, your best rated quarterback 74, 75 overall. You can't
Yeah.
imagine that's going to matter a lot, and that's not the only team. There's a few other teams out there that have solid receivers and speed, and the quarterback just might be rough, and so you're gonna have to scheme some things open. You're gonna have to do some short passing game to open up the run and open up the deep passing game. It's going to be a challenge for people who get those kind of teams.
It is. Is the Big Ten the conference that kept the most? You got Nidler, Vic,
Um,
Canada,
y-
Shell,
it,
and
it
K Dot
I think them and the SEC tied, right? Or maybe not. Maybe the
Andy.
SEC only had four. Um, the Big Ten had five, and that's I believe I believe that would be the most. Did
Interesting.
any of the G5 conferences? Like I know the Mountain West. Remember one year there was only two open teams in the entire Mountain
Right.
West because
Yeah.
like all those guys kept, which was funny to see or cool to see, I should say. But
Looks like
yeah,
there's only 2 in the Mountain West and 3 in the Pac-12 that kept.
yeah, um, yeah, that'll be fun. I'm sure there's a lot of vets who are excited about those two conferences to to play. Um, Let me ask you, what's a team that you think is going to go a lot higher than they should? Like that low win goal team or that team that you think just someone may take a reach on to help them get better next year.
Let me look at that. There's been a few. I mean, I really do think Baylor could be one of those.
Hmm.
Um, the appeal of a Lagway and a 3-win goal. I think somebody's going to reach there probably, which would be a not. I mean, it's one of those that's not a bad spot, right? I think the ones I would more worry about would be um, like a UNLV doesn't look like a very good situation to me. I could see them going earlier. Like I said, there's been a ton of talk about being out west in one of those two conferences. I don't think that UNLV quarterback situation is very good. You got a 7-win goal. There's some real difficult teams out there, and you got to deal with them. Let's see.
I'll give you a couple. They're Big Ten teams, and I think last year some people used them to help propel themselves a little bit higher. But Maryland and Michigan State,
Hmm.
those win goals are really low. You look at Maryland's schedule; it's a 3-win goal, and they have Nebraska, Rutgers, Illinois, Purdue, Wisconsin. Like those are all winnable games. Um, and they don't have coaches. And like no discredit to Vic, but like UCLA, like I could see that could be a winnable game as well. Like Vic's good, and he had some really close calls last year. I think he almost beat Andy and had someone else on the ropes as well. But like 3-win goal, I see at least 3 wins in some of that schedule right there. Now the problem is you do get Penn State, USC, and Ohio State, so that's probably not super fun. But um, you go 6-6 or 7-5 with Maryland, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to kind of unlock what the keys to because if we're talking about you know who takes someone and gets a monster score, right?
Right.
Is it's not just I mean you got to get your win goal, but you got to win your rival games. And you, for goodness
That's
sake,
yeah.
people, do your stats
Yeah,
and your
the
poll
the
voting.
easiest part of this league, the thing you can control the most, your stats and your coaches scores or your coaching reports. Do those.
Do you remember a couple seasons? There was, I think it was season 34. Uh, I don't remember his actual name, but it was Skip Skylark on Twitch, but he won the MAC and got fired because he did nothing.
I'm trying to think of who that was. I want to say I want to say Metro D kind of did the
Metro.
same thing. Is that
It was
him?
Metro. He's
What's it?
Skip
Okay.
Skylark on
Okay,
on
yeah.
Twitch.
So I want to say the same thing happened to him at Michigan State as well. I think he went 9-3. He got a sim loss. Even like was like 4 games above win goal, but got a sim loss that really kept him out of the playoff. If he doesn't get a sim loss, he's probably in. And I know he left. He had to leave because he got a new coaching job and he was focused on that. But like I'm pretty sure rumor had it is that he was also going to get fired because he like just didn't do any of his polls or any of his stats. So
Like my
um,
goodness, that's got to be
yeah.
the one of the things that drives me the most insane. Looking at it at as we get towards the end of the season, I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like this
Yeah.
is this is the easiest part. This is the given.
Yeah.
And some of these new guys, like it's important that people understand, if you get a team that's a 75 or lower, you can keep that team and draft. You can either keep them or draft on day one on participation alone. Just get
Yeah.
100% participation and don't get any bad coaches reports, and what you do in your season is just cherry on top.
Yeah. I mean, Nidler went 1-11 last year and kept his team. Um,
Mhm.
So like, yeah, you don't have to go to the playoff, or you don't have to do anything crazy. Now if you want the high draft pick, that's you got to get some probably ranked wins, and win your road games and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's don't mean this toward Metro D because I really like him, funny dude. I've chatted with him a few times, but like we're getting to a point now where we have a good little wait list and a good farm system getting built up. So maybe the league can be a little more picky down the road of like, listen, man, if you're not going to do any of your polls, coaching reports, or stats, like this place might not be for you. And I don't wish that on anybody, but that's how it used to be, right? Like back in the day, it was like if you're not going to do that stuff and just play the games and like not participate, like one, you'll get a warning and you'll lose your team. Two, you do it again, like we don't want you here. So I'm not saying that's where we need to go and what we need to do, but it could get to that point, right? If we got a good wait list and a good base or core group of guys built.
Or
So
if you have multiple seasons in a row where you've had 3+ games simmed and you keep coming back somehow.
yeah, yeah, we got
Who does that kid have
not
pictures of?
not yeah.
Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
no names. We're not naming names here, but yeah. Or yeah, I won't even. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go down that route because I was gonna make a joke about like, hey, you lose 2 games in your first 2 blocks, and then you just decide you're not gonna play anymore.
Right,
Not quit, but you're just not gonna play, and whatever. You're gonna drag people along, but whatever.
right.
Um, we won't rehash old wounds or open up the scars, right?
Well, I'm
Um,
sure it'll happen again this year. So
I mean, there's 138 guys. It's bound to happen, right? Statistically, there's just going to be someone who starts 0 and 2 or 2 and 2 and realizes, oh, this isn't like an OD where I can just quit, or like, oh, I'm not going to
right.
win the Natty, so I'm just going to quit. And it's like, guys, that's not what this is about. But I think we're in a much better place than we were, last year, or even last 2 seasons. So
Well, I think the game's better too. Um, for provided they don't break it. I live in constant fear now that they're going to patch it and break it. But uh, the game is good enough right now that I think it'll keep guys more interested, more engaged, regardless.
yeah, it is something I worry about because I could imagine if you're like a 11-year-old to say like a 23-year-old, you might not think this game's a lot of fun. And
Hmm.
that's who EA, I think, in my opinion, is trying to appease to a little more. Um, just like the arcade style of playing the game. And that's where I'm a little bit fearful of this catch meter thing. And like I know there's some debate about it today. We won't get into that right now, but like my fear is the catch meter was built for that 11 to 23-year-old who just wants to make monster catches over their friends and go crazy on each other. And I just hope that's not what happens with it. I've heard people say, "Oh, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that." Fine, but like I also, like you said, have that fear of like, hey, this game, they're always trying to appease to the masses and not the people like us who want to play it a little more sim and realistically. So I think it's completely valid that you have that in the back of your mind, because if those microtransactions aren't coming in and they're not seeing the revenue they want to see, or the buying is down, like they're gonna make some changes to make the game more appealing to sell more. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
I
not
mean,
the
it's
case.
it's the focus is cut, right? I mean, we're not the focus
No.
ever. We are a niche community, right? So like,
Right.
it is. This game is not built for us. Play now is not built for us. I
Mhm.
was talking to somebody about it at one point. I mean, we're pretty convinced that Play Now has a little bit more RNG than Dynasty does. Just because if you're in general, when most people use Play Now, they're gonna just sit down and play with a friend.
Right.
Um, and kind of what it was designed for was like couch play, and you want it to be exciting and randomness to happen, and that's just sort of tinfoil hat stuff. But
Yeah.
um, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, not to get too down gameplay because I want to get back to draft and actually make some picks, do a fun little exercise. But um, I feel like I haven't gotten EA'd as much yet so far, which I think is
Okay.
a good thing, right? I'm happy about that. So that's a little bit nice to see that you said it's not maybe RNG, or we're not getting hit with those like roller coaster NFL blitz like momentum swings, when if you know what I'm talking about, like hey,
Yeah,
you go on 21-0 in NFL blitz, and then all of a sudden the losing team just is superhuman and you can't stop them, so hopefully that's
yeah. I think the only thing I've really seen has been more. I mean, the game uses animation instead of physics, right?
Mhm.
So if you have, say, you got a receiver who catches a ball, and there's a crowd of three people trying to tackle him, and he stiff arms one of them, then the other tackles don't register.
Mhm.
So that's been a little bit frustrating. I've seen a few. I given up a few really long touchdowns for breakouts like that, but that's just sort of a, that's going to come with that's the nature of the beast based on how they built this game, and I try not to get too worked up about those.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, give me one sec. I'm responding to my wife's text message because I'm out of town right now, and
That means you're on a clock with that response.
yeah. Um, okay, so let's talk picks. Let's talk draft. I tasked you with a fun exercise that I'd like to try and do. Let's draft. Let's go through maybe like 15, 20 picks, and we'll go every other. I want you and me will put ourselves in the shoes of that person and what we think they should do or what we think they will do. And so, you know, I'll let you start at number one with Chip. If you were Chip and you're drafting number one, you're taking who and why?
Yeah, I think if you're number one, Miami is who you have to take. I don't think it's negotiable. They're too good. They're too far and away the best team available, in my opinion.
Yeah, best team available with really. I know the win goal's already 9.5 pre OC, but they're it's the ACC, right? Like I don't. There's not going to be one game on that schedule that they will lose, in my opinion, other than maybe me, But like Chip's a better player than me. That's going to be my toughest game. It's not going to hurt him conference wise either. So like, even if he loses that game, he's probably still 8-0 in that conference or 7-1 and in the playoff or in the conference championship game. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Um, Number two, I'll take Jumper. Um, Man, like I was gonna pick Jumper to win the national championship this season if he was at Ole Miss. I just thought like there was times last year he looked so good with them, and I know it didn't end well. It kind of spiraled against Jiggy, as really everyone does. But I'm gonna say Jumper is taking Oklahoma State. No surprise, it's his favorite team. He's going home. He's taking them, and the reason he's taken them is because their offense is really good. They got Mestamaker 90 overall at quarterback. They got Hawkins a 91 at running back. I think they have a 90 overall receiver as well. Like I think he's going to fill it up with them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the top of the passing yards and maybe even breaking some records this year with that offense.
And that's a really it's a pretty wide open conference, right? I mean, you got BYU. BYU is probably the. I mean, obviously Tech, but I kind of write Tech off a little bit because of the quarterback situation. Um, but I mean, Oklahoma State's right there. I mean, it's a winnable conference for a player like him.
Yep, agreed. He's that's where I'd have to change my prediction on the Big 12 not getting a team because then it's definitely Oklahoma State making the playoff.
Sure.
CJG at 3.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I was a little surprised to see him leave, just based on you know the level of that team versus the competition kind of thing. I was a little surprised to see him move off BYU, but you got to think if he's leaving, it's for one of these big dogs. I'm going to give him Georgia, just in terms of how he plays. It seems like either Georgia or Alabama would be the better fit, and to me, Georgia's the better roster.
Yeah, he didn't light up the scoreboard passing last year, I don't think. I think he was just consistent and steady passer. And, Georgia has a great quarterback and the receivers are maybe a little iffy and that might be tough on the road. But yeah, I think with the running game and with the Georgia offense and defensive line, I think that's basically a BYU, but like on steroids for him. So yeah, I like that one. Lingus at number 4. Man, so I don't think Lingus is going to go to one of these top tier teams. I don't think he's going to go like an OU, Old Miss, Indiana type of team. Um, I'm going to go ahead and say that he goes to Washington. The reason I say that is because purely based on that he wants to go play Unk in the Apple Cup and keep that rivalry going. So I think that also I think Washington's a sneaky team. They got some good quarterback play, have some nice tools at receiver and on the offense, and that secondary is really nice as well. So I think Lingus is going to go Washington here.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, he's a passer, right? He
Yep.
needs a quarterback for sure. Now we go old CG. He is he's an interesting one too. You know, when he was at Texas, it was all throw. And then he got to Syracuse and he ran the ball a ton. Um, and you wonder if that experience at Texas, getting fired kind of soured him a little bit on the top end teams. But I don't know. I am going to give him one. I'm going to give him Texas A&M.
Ah, good pick. Good pick. Yeah, he's been in the SEC before, so it's not like something he's going to shy away from. And went 9-3, like got fired, but like that's I don't care what your I guess end is. If you go 9-3 in the SEC, like that's a heck of a season. But just
Hmm.
know if you're a new coach, that might not be good enough to stay in the SEC. So, next pick I got here, Big Mike. Um, man, this is a tough one. I am gonna look here. Kind of scrolling down through some teams. Um, I'm gonna say Big Mike goes with. If I were Big Mike, I would probably go with Houston. I don't even know if that's a team that he's looking at, but I look at Houston, 5.5 win goal, not too crazy in that conference. They have a good quarterback, they have a good tight end, good running game, favorable schedule. Big Mike's a great decision maker, and I just think that team would fit him really well. So I'm going to go a little bit surprising there and say that he goes with Houston, or that he should go with
Interesting.
Houston.
Interesting. Um, I didn't expect that. I really didn't. I mean, I knew
Well,
he wouldn't take Indiana for
I
sure.
know who he wants, but that would be too easy to
Yeah.
pick them, and I also don't want to put it out there in the public because he's DM'd me who he wants. But
Oh, gotcha,
I'm
gotcha.
putting myself more in the shoes of who I think
I gotcha.
he should take, or if I were him, who I would take.
Gotcha. Now move to another surprise, Marion. A little bit of a surprise to see him leave Utah. Like you said, the roster's a little bit down. Um, he's already been at Alabama. Who is the most Utah-like? Well, how about you go to the place that just hired Utah's coach, Michigan?
Ah, little little D Canada game. I know they were talking back and forth in the live chat about Ohio State going to Utah, but hey, that doesn't even have to happen if he gets Michigan.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be the best Michigan Ohio State game we've had since the reboot, in my opinion. And no discredit to anyone else, but that would be like two top level coaches at in the game, right? Which would be cool. Um, okay, Tutty. Man, he left Georgia after getting to the semifinal, and he'd probably even tell you he should have been in the championship. He had Jiggy on the ropes there in the going into the fourth quarter. This one is where I might also have to change my pick, where I said Canada or Jiggy won't win it all. Now that Tutty's not at a top tier team, I don't know maybe who else, and Jumper as well, potentially not at a top tier team. That changes my bold prediction a little bit. But I have to imagine Tutty left because he is going to step away from the top tier. I know he coaches in the fall. If I'm Tutty, I'm looking at who is that low win goal and how can I set myself up for season two. So I'm scrolling through here. I'm going to say Tutty goes with. I'm going to say he goes with Iowa. If I were him, I'd go with Iowa here. Heavy run. You can run the ball super well. It's a favorable schedule. Low win goal. Winnable rivals. That's if I'm him, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, they did adjust Iowa's rivals. It's not as bad, as it was at some points. Um, that would be interesting. That would make for a hellacious Big Ten, though, for anybody else looking to jump in there at the end of it. And you just know you have, you already got the guys that kept, D. Kennedy and Shell, and then here's Marion and here's Tutty. Good luck.
Let's see who's
Uh,
next.
Razorback. Razorback. I think Razorback. I'll be honest. I think Razorback's sort of decided that he's a G6 guy. So I think
Mhm.
this is where our first non P4 team comes off the board. I think he goes out west and give him. Let's see who's best out there. Let's say UNLV.
Nice, fun
The
team. I played with them a little last year. They were fun.
Dan Mullen.
Nice. Chrome at 10. I know he was trolling in the live chat with the Auburn meme earlier. I hope he doesn't go with Auburn. I would, if I were him, don't go with Auburn. One, because I want to see AU Tiger get him. Two, that team's cursed, man.
They are.
There's been so many people who've either gotten kicked out or just quit or broke rules, man. It's insane. I don't think they've had I think they've had one winning season since we've been back. And I want to say it was Sneal, who I haven't seen on this list here. Is he still in the league? Sneal?
Who was it?
Sneal Shiesty.
Oh,
I'm scrolling. Oh yeah, I see him. He's at 78. Okay, so he's still here.
gotcha.
Good, good.
Man, I mean,
Um,
you think didn't the last two Auburn users are gone? They got booted.
yeah, both got booted, and then I think we've had one in the past quit as well. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, just not a great place. Listen, Chrome, I think he can play some pretty awesome offense. If I were him, and I was trying to kind of make a name for myself here, I think that's what he's going to do with this pick. Maybe I hope we didn't pick him already, and if we didn't, even if we double pick, that's fine because we're just saying what we'd do if we were them. I'd go Alabama. I think he could do some damage with Ryan Williams. I know the quarterback situation isn't the greatest, but they got that redshirt freshman. I can't remember his name exactly. Russell, Keelan Russell. I think he could light up some offense with that. So I would say if I were him and trying to make a name for myself, I'd go with Alabama.
Interesting. I on to finesse. Finesse is a really good player.
Good
If you look
dude
at him,
too.
yeah,
Good
he's a
dude.
great dude. But he's had a great season at Oklahoma State. Had a really good season at Vanderbilt, and was really in there for a lot of different conversations at the end. I mean, you could have argued he should have been much higher in the final poll. Um, if I'm him here, the way he plays the game, because he's really like a slower, cerebral, plays the game, a lot in a different way than a lot of people you run into. Why not take Indiana, the best team you've ever had, and see what you can go do with it?
Yeah, I think that team fits him really well. Also, similar. I mean, Josh Hoover's a little taller than Pavia, but I just think that like throwing, like airing it out and throwing the ball that way, I think would fit him really well. So it's a good pick. Um, Texaco T, man, that's a tough one. I don't know a ton about him. This is a great pick, though. He had 1 year in the league, right? One season, and back for season two, and he's in the top 12. That's pretty solid. Um, if I were him, I would go to the ACC, not necessarily to try to get a higher pick, but to see if I could compete and maybe get to a conference championship game. And I think even though their win goal is like crazy high, I think if I'm him, I'm going Louisville. I think their running game is awesome. Their schedule is, quite frankly, dog shit. Um, and their rivals Kentucky, and I don't see any other rivals other than Kentucky in here. So it is an all or nothing rival. So if you don't beat them, you're in kind of a tough spot. But I do think this would be a good spot if I were him to take them at Louisville.
Good player, and one that people don't realize is good because he was,
Yeah.
not a lot of people watching Mac games, but y'all gonna find out.
Yeah.
Um, let's get to Twista Nuts, who he came in? Didn't he come in at the end? He replaced Bucknut, didn't he? Was that Irish?
No, that was Irish, who is now gone
Ah,
as well. Unfortunately,
trying to
Twista came in like halfway through season one last year. So would that be
gotcha.
season 33? Uh, yeah, longtime vet, right? Was with us for a while back in the day. Not a while. He was like at the end of the 13-14 cycles, and then found us. So yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna give him BYU. I think that's one of
ooh,
the better
yeah,
fits on the board. The way he played, I watched him quite a bit at Northern Illinois last season. I thought he plays really well. But it's a really good spot to land. That's a wide open conference.
yeah. I think that's a perfect fit for him. I like that pick a lot. All right, this one's easy. AU Tiger. If I'm AU Tiger, I'm taking Auburn.
Done. Boom.
Yeah,
Lock it up.
easy.
Jay
Oh,
Hubbard.
nice. This is a good one for you.
Yeah, we play a lot, man. We've we've cycled through a lot of teams. Um, I don't know what he'll do. I really don't. I don't think he knows. I don't think he'll know until the clock starts. I'll tell you what I think he should do. I I really think when you make it to a top 15, top 20 pick, just take the best team you can take and go see what you can do with it. You know what I mean? Like if the way this board fell, if I'm Hubbard, I take Ole Miss
Oh. Oh, yeah,
and
that's
go
right.
see.
It's a team we haven't even mentioned yet. Probably not gonna last this long, right? Someone is probably gonna take them earlier, but that's cool. I mean, he'll if he was on talking to us right now, he'd be like, "I'm not never going to the SEC. I'm not doing that." But like, I agree with you. Like, why not? Why the hell not? Right? Like, he said it before. He's not the kind of guy here to try to win a championship or even like compete for a conference. He's here to have fun and like I think back to U.S. Marine. I think it was like second season back. He had a really great season his first season, and then got a high enough pick and got Bama. And it's like he
Hmm.
said he's like, I'm how many chances am I going to get to take a team like this in the NDL?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, why not? Just give it a shot, see how it goes. And if you're truly a G6 guy anyway, and that's more your speed and what you enjoy, like cool, you'll end up back there next season, right?
Yeah.
So maybe not. He's much improved, really improved player. I told him that the other day. I was like, dude, you had a hell of a year last year, and you had Big Mike on the ropes, and then you had Ryan Collins in the bowl game on the ropes, who was like almost a sleeper to win his conference and sneak into the playoff. But yeah, so that's a good pick. Let's do like three or four more. We'll get to 20 and we'll stop. Just
Sure.
otherwise, we do this forever. And actually, I do want to go down to like maybe a little bit further in the draft to those coaches we talked about earlier, like Pat and Devin and whatnot, and just maybe do like two or three picks down there. But where were we at? Wilds. Oh, okay. Wilds, man. Awesome at Iowa. That was, that'd be a team I already picked them, but that'd be a team I think he might try to get back to. Um, Man, if I'm Wilds, looking at probably a lower win goal, he's always said on record that that's kind of his speed. Um, I think Wilds would do well out west. And I'm gonna say going to somewhere like Arizona State would, if I were Wilds, would be a good spot to be. Um, I don't know why, just that out west warm weather. I think you'd enjoy it. The conference goals are pretty easy. The Arizona rivalry is not too bad. Big 12 should be competitive. That's who I'd take if I were him.
Sure. I like Arizona State. 4-win goal. Not a very tough conference. Not a horrible rival either. Like you said. Um, so I wouldn't mind that one at all for him. Uh, Jokers. Joker is so funny because we talked about this before draft order
He
release.
he. I looked it up. He was 17 last year or
Right.
last season, and here he is again. It's not
So
a bad
there's the
pick. It's not a bad pick. Yeah.
no, it's not. It's just it's that old game theory. I mean, just what do what's your goal? And if it's to move up, sometimes it doesn't always work that way, and sometimes you end up lower or right where you were, right? Um, so I will say it may not have even been to move up. I mean, he does seem like a guy. He was at Memphis for quite a while, right? He was a guy that then he goes and takes San Jose State. So he may just be a guy that likes to find a team in the G6 that he likes and run with them. You
Mhm.
know, so I may just continue that theme and give him Hawaii this time.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, and I thought he should have went there last year.
Same.
Really, I thought that would have been a perfect fit because the Jeff Daddy tie and them, coaching together. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength because that's where I'm thinking he should end up. 18th, Drewski. Drewski, great offensive player in my opinion. Was really nice at Washington. Obviously, probably bit off a little more than he can chew. It was his second season going at Washington, and maybe just wasn't ready for the power conferences, but I think he's ready now. Had a hell of a year last year. If I'm him, I'm going with SMU. Great offense, great quarterback. He can pass really well. ACC is winnable. If I'm trying to compete for a playoff spot or win a conference, if I'm him, I'm going SMU.
Nice. SMU's really under. I mean, that's a team that, if they really drop to 18, that what a great get that would be.
Yeah.
because that quarterback's fantastic. Uh, Chop. If we know anything about Chop, right, it's two things. One, he's a USC fan. Two, Cal couldn't run the ball, and he was very upset about it. Let me. We're gonna get Chop to a place that all they want to do is run the ball, and that is Missouri.
That's I think that's a good fit, and now that I know who their quarterback is too, like he can pass as well. So I think that's a good fit for him. Another opportunity for him to jump into the higher ranks too with the SEC and kind of make a name for himself. So I like that one. Next, number 20, and actually, I'll let you do Beer Cop too. So we'll go to 21 just because we love Beer Cop. Big Red, my opponent in the playoff last year, played a hell of a game defensively, had me in knots. I was just fortunate enough to pull it out. If I'm Big Red, 20th, maybe he was also one of those who didn't maybe necessarily know where he was going to go. Missouri as a keeper might have been a better option than the 20th pick. But man, he kind of plays a slower style of football, right? Pound the rock, make good decisions. I think a good team for him here is Kansas State. One of those sleeper teams who we talked about, or Vic maybe brought up last, winnable rival games with Iowa State and Kansas. Nice Big 12 schedule, and their quarterback's pretty good. And I think that'll be a team later in the season you could see being more toward like an 85 or 86 rated team, depending on how well they perform early on. So if I'm him, I'm going Kansas State and trying to go for another conference championship and get me an even higher pick for next year.
Sure. Yeah, Big Red, and Big Red's not afraid of a challenge. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
That dude will jump in and play anybody at any time and crank up the volume while he's doing it. So what a stream that is to watch, man.
Oh, nice. And
Um,
and you got Beer Cop here. He's actually in here, which is awesome. I didn't realize he was in here because I hadn't looked at the Discord in a while. But
oh, gotcha.
yeah. So Beer Cop, whoever NTX picks for you, you have to pick. That is your pick.
These are the rules.
Yeah.
I don't make them. It's funny. I think Beer Cop. I think he's another. I think he's happy going G6. I'm gonna give him Air Force service school. I think he'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Beer Cop's a player that doesn't get as much credit as I think he should. He almost beat Jumper. Was it 2 seasons ago? Jumper was at Baylor, was like 8-2 or 9-3 or what? Like he was trending toward a 9-3 season. Beer Cop had him on the ropes, and if you think about that, of like how like big of an upset that would have been. Like Beer Cop can put you in hell playing this game and frustrate you. I think I played him when I was Wisconsin just in a scrim, and he was Houston, and dude, he just like dominated the game. Like he's got something in there, and I think like you said, like if he can run the ball with Air Force and get back to the G6 or sorry, yeah G6, yeah, that'd be a good pick for him. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, he was my welcome back to the NDL.
yeah,
You know, he's
what
the one that started the whole my curse. He started my curse.
was that like that 14-7 game you guys played?
No, that
Like,
was the one. It was
I'm
like
trying to think.
20. It was like 28-31. He beat me with.
Okay.
He had this last minute drive in the last minute and a half where he threw a ball through my defender. Like it was just insane. It was just an absolutely insane game that he pulled out. He did an
Maybe,
amazing job.
yeah, I think it was last season. It was like week one. You guys did play week one last year, right? It was a close game.
Yeah, that was like a
Okay.
14-7 game. This
Okay.
is
That's
you
right.
actually called this one when you were doing the Miami of Ohio Colorado State game when you were still doing like
When
NDL
I
ESPN.
when I did like the 10 hours of just
Yeah,
chatting about live games. Yeah.
yeah,
Man,
yeah. I
what a
remember you
time.
calling it.
Yeah, there was some awesome games that weekend. So for anyone, and we'll kind of wrap up here. We're over just over an hour, but yeah, this was like maybe 2 seasons ago. My wife was out of town, took our daughter to my in-laws, and I had to work at night on Saturday and Sunday. And so during the day, I just logged in on Discord and went live for man, probably like almost 10 hours. Like I did take a couple breaks, but I just was like commentating on games. We had guests on talking. I mean, there was some like just banger games of like last minute craziness, and it was that opening weekend where like everyone's itching to play, and you get like 15 to 20 games a day coming through the live stream. So yeah, that was a good time.
Very fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's kind of wrap it up here. It's been great kind of talking, but I did say I wanted to go one more exercise. Quick rapid fire, couple minutes here. The first fired coach is Devin at 50. If Well, you went last, so I'll take Devin. If I'm Devin, I am going to go with a team if they're available. Again, they might not be. Team like Northwestern. I think that with a 2-win goal, Northwestern, kind of a sleepy team, schedule is brutal. But man, if you win like 5 or 6 games there, that's a team that can put you back in the top 10. And he has, let's see, he has one, two, three, four, probably 5 chances at a ranked win. Which really all you just win one of those or even two, you're going to be sitting pretty when it comes to bonus points and a high draft pick. So I would do
Mm,
something like that, a smaller Power Four school.
interesting. Yeah, it's going to be this. That's that area where you start to go, find out about how people view the process. Right? Is do you go to a G6 you think you can win, or you go to a P4 that you think you can just make a little bit of noise and enough noise to pop yourself up the draft, but you're not probably going to win the conference, right?
Yep.
Pat is next, right?
Yep. That's right.
So I think Pat goes the other way. So I think he is more, you know, I think you could see this is the type of pick that you could end up seeing him take, a small school and end up winning a conference when they're not even projected to do so.
Yep.
Um, I'm gonna go with I think it's a defense guy. Say like a Georgia Southern.
Okay. Yeah, if I know anything about Pat, he's probably going to find a team with speed, um,
Yeah,
as well. So I could see like I know Georgia State had some sneaky speed last year. I can't even find Georgia Southern on here as I scroll, but
Jacksonville State maybe.
yeah, yeah, they were a pretty quality team. Oh yeah, they're pretty highly rated, 76 overall.
Hmm.
Georgia Southern 76. Yeah, that's I could see that. Uh, Sun Belt Conference, interesting. Okay, well, Sun Belt is notorious for sending teams to the playoffs. Razor let us all know that yesterday.
Yes.
So yeah, that's I like that one. Let's see, who do I got next here? Let's go through Mort. We'll stop at Mort. I got Rain. Um, Man, this one's tough. I just don't know if Reigns is a a G6 guy. His thing does say multi-directional state university is where he's going, so maybe that's a sign that he is. If I'm Rain, I I think I would go somewhere like, oh, man, I think I'd go to the Mac. I know he's from Ohio or lives in Ohio. I would, if I were him, I'd go to the Mac. I'd find a school that's got a pretty low win goal with some talent. And the team that comes to mind here is Ohio University. So, um, yeah, just low win goal, Mac school. Chip's not there anymore. I think Rain's talented enough to where he could turn Ohio into a 8 or 9 win team and get back to the top of the draft.
Sure. Did the Max fun? Like I really enjoyed, even though I didn't, I had a lot of close losses or whatever. I really enjoyed that year in the Mac. It's fun because all the
May-
teams are so bad.
Maybe we're just sickos, but like I love watching a Mac NDL game as much as I do an SEC NDL game.
Absolutely.
Like it is fun to watch guys duke it out, and they probably think that like no one cares and no one's watching, but like I don't care. You're playing the game, and the game's fun to watch sometimes, and like I'm interested in learning like I think guys have watched some of these lower G6 games and noticed like, wow, look at the speed on Western Kentucky, right? Or like look at and then now they're
Hmm.
drafted in Western Kentucky next year because they're in that drafting situation. So you can take a lot away from watching those G6 games, and they're fun. So yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Very fun. D Ward, who was, I guess, fired from Nebraska based
yeah,
on where I know he's a Texas guy. But what about a Kansas, man? I bet a Kansas falls. I could see him wanting to sort of stay in a bigger conference. Um, but a Big 12 is a Big 12, as we saw. I don't know that D Ward does a Smitty, where he makes the playoffs with them, but 2 win goal. Uh, they got a. They're not devoid of talent whatsoever. I mean, they got a pretty solid running back room. I think Kansas could be a fun one for him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Um, Steam, this one I was a little surprised. Did we lose? Gosh, what was his name last year? Who was? Well, I'm going to give away my pick. I think Steam should go to Stanford. I think he should go to
Mm,
the ACC. He's been in the ACC a lot. I thought who had Stanford last year? What was that guy's name? I'm just totally blanking on it.
I'm
Um,
with you. I'm trying to remember that myself. He
I
was
don't
good
see
though.
if I saw his name on the draft board, I would remember it, but I guess maybe he's not. He was Wobble's friend.
He would have been top 15 though. I mean,
God, this is Jet. Yeah, Andy just put it in the
uh,
chat. Yeah, Jet. Yeah, he probably. I don't know about top 15 because he broke rules and got in some trouble. So I don't know if that would have affected his score because he. I think if you do that, you lose all your bonus points. And
gotcha.
he had the bowl ban as well, so that probably would have hurt him. But yeah, I don't see him anywhere on this list, so that's actually nice for me that he's not on there because he was good. I didn't pull away till late in that game, but yeah, Stanford for Steam, get back to pounding the ball. Low win goal, low rated team. I wouldn't be surprised them to actually do decent this year in real life and get some ratings boosts as well. Andrew Luck is kind of on the clock in real life to rebuild that roster in that program, so
Hmm.
I could see that. I think that'd be a good landing spot for him.
Can I ask? I know um, this isn't a artist formerly known as Jet conversation. I watched 5 of that dude's games, right?
Mhm.
And every single game, I walked away going, I don't understand how he's doing this. Because like he didn't do anything special. He wasn't making 100 changes. He just
Yeah.
called the defense, and his team did what he asked them to do. And I don't know what kind of voodoo he set up over the
Yeah.
top of his PlayStation, but I couldn't get mine to do that.
So I'm gonna tell a funny story that happened in DMs, and I'm sure he won't get mad at me for saying this, but like me and D Candidate chat from time to time, and really mostly about just like about the game, but then we talk about kids and stuff too. But um, he when he lost to Rutgers and the whole bus fiasco of like RBs chasing down the bus, right? Like he
Yeah,
he 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 lost to Rutgers and he DMs me and he's like is he cheating? And like not seriously, but he was like what is he doing like with Rutgers? So like I know exactly what you're talking about because sometimes guys just get things to go their way and I don't know how or why, but that was very similar to Jet. Like he beat Devin. Devin was Miami. Devin's like a top 7, 8 player, right? Like he's really good, and he beat him on the road with Stanford.
right.
Once, I mean, he couldn't stop the run for me, which is like no one really could because of Love. But once I figured out his offense after the first half, he was a lot more stoppable. But he was good with that team. That team was not very good last year, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good question because like I've seen it happen before. It's like, how do these guys make those catches between two defenders when my guys are dropping it, barely being touched, right? Like it's just
Right.
it's one of those weird things that just kind of happens in this game. So yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
um,
I just had to
la-
get that out because I've
yeah,
been wondering it
no,
for 6 months.
no, you're right. Last pick here, you got Mort.
Mort, I don't think Mort goes G6. I think Maryland treated him really really well.
Mm.
I think he repeats that thought process. Let me find now. What does that mean? I'm not sure yet. I'm about to tell you. Let's see. You know what? Give Mort Boston College.
Ah, no, I don't want that. That means he's on my schedule.
No,
No,
I think he's one of those guys that he that did him really well. Like that kind of
yeah.
smaller, not great P4 conference. Doesn't look like a great team, but he can make it work.
Listen, as long as the teams you're playing are in that same window of rating as you, say like you're what's Boston College, just 78, 77.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, 77. Like if you're playing other teams that are, call it like no higher than 81, you got a shot. You're not going to get completely crushed like you will against the higher 80s or 90s teams. So, yeah, I could definitely see something like that. He told me the other day, so he was looking at a team that got kept, which I would have never guessed his team was going to get kept, but he was looking at Louisiana Tech is actually one that he was kind of keeping an eye on. But
Interesting.
Bearass, I think, stayed there,
Yeah,
which
you know
again,
why? I talked to him about
no,
this.
what? I know there's a story here, but what is it?
So I talked to him about that, and I asked him, I was like, "Why did you keep him?" And he's like, "Well, he's like, if I can't get higher than the 25th pick, I don't enter the draft." Well, I
Well,
don't know why that line. I mean, what if you could have got the 26th pick? I bet you it's better than Louisiana Tech. I don't.
yeah, I don't know the thought process. It's like maybe thinking of like getting a top 25 team, even though that's not actually the case, right? Because there's so many that get kept. But um, I know he's an OU fan, so I have to
Mhm.
imagine that the dream one day would be like to get OU, which you'd have to be higher, I would think, for them. I don't think we mocked them anywhere, did we? That's a team that I think is going to fall a little bit, but not that
Yeah,
far.
I mean, if
So
they can fall to 33, I mean, y'all just let that happen. I'll hey, make it happen.
yeah. Um, well, good stuff, man. Any parting words while we wrap up? I know we got the draft in 2 days. Any advice to dish out or to kind of give to our listeners or the league?
Yeah, my advice is what I tell everybody that I talk about the draft with. If you are picking 20th, go in your whatever you do spreadsheets and make a list of 20 teams, right? And make put them in
Yeah.
order. And if Miami is number 1 for you, that's fine. Put Miami number 1, right? Because inevitably what's going to happen is some team that would have been 7 through 13 on that list is going to end up there, and
Yep.
you never looked at them and you never considered them, and you don't know if they fit you or not, but oh my gosh, that team's way better than I thought would be here, and you take them and you have a horrible season. This is how someone gets Iowa, right? Have a plan. That's all. Just
Yeah.
make a list,
I,
have a plan, the number of picks ahead of you, and know what you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, the number one plan in my eyes is be available on the draft during the
Sure,
draft and
sure,
be on if you can, right? I understand it's
sure.
Friday night and Saturday, so like people have lives and do stuff, but that would be my number one. Actually, before I wrap it up, CG just asked a good question. I don't think we have an admin in here to answer this, but CG just asked RB in real life Notre Dame does RB get the in real life Notre Dame CFP rule? It's a good question. I mean, we try to follow real life rules and real life guidelines as much as possible. Might be a question to ask the admins. If I'm in the top 12, am I in the playoff? That's a good question. I'm going to probably say no. Um, I just think
I'm
that's
I'm gonna say yes just because
you, you,
I want to see the live chat after.
I would feel bad. The funny thing about that rule is like it really only matters if you're number 11 or 12, right? Like there's only
Sure.
two spots that really give you um some cushion there, but like I'm sorry. If the committee is in a spot where Notre Dame is, 10-2 at number 10 or 11 the last draft, they're gonna or the last selection, they're gonna do the easy thing and just move them to 13, right?
Hmm.
Like at least that's what I would do if I was in that room and I didn't want to deal with it. Like I just don't think it's gonna be as big of a deal as people are making it. And it's also an MOU, which means it can be like they can honor it, but they can also just be like, "Fuck you, Notre Dame. We're not doing that," and then Notre Dame can threaten to sue and then never sue, and it's drama, right? So
Right.
I don't know. It's as long as we don't go to 24 teams, I do not want that. I don't want that in real life, and I don't want that in the NDL either. So
I
uh,
agree.
the RB strays would be rampant. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know what? But I would be like Regina George and Mean Girls, just throwing the flyers up in the air and then folding my arms and watching everyone just rip each other's hairs out. That's what I would be doing in that scenario. I wouldn't say a damn word. No, you know me. I can't keep my mouth shut. I would say something.
Oh, you
Um,
would pour as much gasoline on the fire as
yeah,
was readily available,
yeah.
and it would be amazing.
I hope guys realize I talk a lot of shit in the live chat, and it's all fun and games. Like there are times where I give, I guess, some guys a harder time than maybe I should, but end of the day, I love this place. It's banter, it's talking shit, it's guys being dudes. Um, so yeah. All right. Well, yeah, my parting words, guys, is like we're right there. We're around in the corner. It's exciting time. I'm really juiced up on NDL lately. Gonna try to produce as much content as I can, especially when I'm on the road and I have the time to do it. But man, excited for the draft in 2 days. For y'all traveling to Nashville, have fun, be safe. Take good care of each other. And yeah, just can't wait to see the draft and be part of it. And yeah, thanks for joining, guys.
Appreciate you, fellas.